Right.
Dr. Bell's gonna do the step team first. Yeah, she's gonna do the step team first, so she can start.
Yeah. Go.
Good evening, school board directors, to members of the public, to all of our families and students here tonight, to my team. Before we begin the formal meeting, please join me in a drum roll. And a drum roll. Okay. Please welcome the William Allen High School step team.
Attention! I don't think they have it yet. One more time. One.
We want another one, just like the other one.
Ladies. Go ahead. Who are we? Scientists. They heard us. One more time.
Let's give it up for the women's step team under the direction of Ms. Hernandez, and we want to thank Ms. Singer for being here this evening, and all of the families. Will all of our families please stand? All the students' families, can you please stand? Great job, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us to serve you and your children. Thank you so much for, woo! Let's give it up for them. I want to thank all the families for coming out tonight to support our students. Thank you so much. Good night. Want me to continue? You can stay. So November is National Family Engagement and Education Month. So please give a round of applause for our families. During the month of November, we celebrate and recognize the essential role that families play in promoting student achievement and the welfare of our children. You know, there's a researcher named Tony Bright, and he talks about people who have the greatest impact in student achievement and student success. And he names one, of course, the teacher is the greatest lever. Second to teacher is the school leader or the principal. And third, families and the community. So we want to thank all our caregivers, parents, abuelo, tia, tio, and everyone who's a caregiver within our community. Thank you so much for all the great work that you do on behalf of our children. As a district, we are deeply committed to supporting the partnership between our families and our schools. And we know that the children of Allentown are best served when we work together in partnership as one team. And as a learning community, believe that all of our collective strengths are needed to achieve the best possible educational outcomes for every one of our children. To all the families who were here, and the ones who are listening to us online, all the caregivers and such, thank you for being important teachers, advocates, and nurturers for our children. Please know that our teachers, school leaders, and staff see and greatly appreciate you and all the things that you do on behalf of our children every single day. Whether it's reading bedtime stories, assisting with homework, attending conferences, and conferences are coming up soon, so please mark your calendars, or staying informed about your child's progress, or volunteering at school events. Your involvement is essential part of your child's education. Again, I want to thank you. And this year, we're excited for the first time ever that we will honor families at our You Are the Light celebration. And so school leaders have been given instruction to select, and this is going to be very difficult, but to select families or parent or caregiver from their school, and we will honor them at our next You Are the Light ceremony. And I'd be remiss if there's someone who's listening and that you'd like to sponsor that event. We'd be happy to accept any contributions to highlight our families at that particular event, which is, I want to make sure I have the right dates, is November 22nd. 20th, thank you, November 20th. So on November 20th, we will celebrate all of your light recipients. Also on November 13th, we're inviting all parents, guardians, caregivers, and you can also bring your lovely children. We will host our District Title I Parent and Family Involvement Planning meetings. And at that particular meeting, families will have an opportunity to hear about Title I funding, various efforts that the district has underway, our strategic plan, and many other ways that you can become actively engaged in the schooling experience here in Allentown. And finally, we are excited tonight and extremely thrilled that we were awarded a school safety and mental health grant in the amount of $478,000 from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. And this particular grant will afford us the opportunity to hire 3 additional social workers for our school district, as well as for those particular social workers to create a student support and social emotional centers in 3 of our schools. So again, I want to commend our team. Thank you so much for your hard work in crafting that particular award. And of course, we thank the Pennsylvania Department of Ed and Commission for awarding us with the funding. So thank you, Ms. Matheson. Thank you.
I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee of the whole meeting for the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, November 7th, 2024. Prior to tonight's meeting, an informational executive session was held. The purpose of the session was to engage in informational updates presented to the board on a number of district initiatives, as well as confidential matters pertaining to personnel, an informational update and discussion with counsel pertaining to district real estate and the associated design and finance of new schools, and an ESSERS monitoring compliance update. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy, either on issues presented in resolutions being considered or on other matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the Deputy Superintendent, Ms. Ramos. Comment cards are located at the podium near the door. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and kindly limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Dr. Burks, do you have anything else? Okay. At this time, we're only taking public comments on agenda items. Do we have any cards? Right? The first item tonight is a request for the approval of a parameters resolution presented by Mr. Fazio.
Thank you, Ms. Madison, Dr. Burks, School Board, Administration, Public. Thank you for your attention tonight. We have, let me talk about the parameters resolution. We assembled a financing team, and it's made up of several individuals, a few board members, and two of the individuals are here tonight. Scott Shear from PFM, and Michael Lillies from IBC. They're working with the district to put together a financing package for the new proposed K-8 building that the district is considering constructing. Along with that is a requirement to have what's called a parameters resolution. And let me just explain for the board's benefit what a parameters resolution is. The board is required to adopt a resolution in order for the district to incur indebtedness, a mortgage, if you will, by issuing bonds. Specifically, the Pennsylvania Local Government Unit Debt Act requires that school districts such as Allentown obtain board approval prior to incurring debt and issuing bonds. The Pennsylvania Local Government Unit Debt Act also requires certain information be included in the resolution for public purposes. For example, what the bonds will be used for. And in the parameters resolution, we refer to it as the project. It's the purchase of real estate, the construction of the new school building, the maximum amount of the bonds that the district could borrow, and who at the district has the authority to sign the required documents, including the bonds themselves on behalf of the district. The appointment of a paying agent who will actually pay the bonds. Here, we've selected M&T Bank. This resolution is also, there is also language that allows the district to reimburse itself from the bonds for certain capital expenditures that the district may incur in the early stages of the project. So that's kind of the framework. The parameters resolution, you'll see, gives the authority to purchase up to $135 million. I'll repeat that, $135 million. We don't anticipate project costing that much, but we're setting a threshold much higher than we anticipate. So that's a summary of what you'll be voting on. And if you have any questions for myself or Scott or Michael, we'd be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions from the board? Seeing
Question.
stage, okay.
So $135 million bond. In the event, we decided that we weren't gonna move forward with, if there were some issues, I shouldn't say, I don't wanna point out, if there were some issues, is there some time that we can actually make those adjustments and move forward, or are we stuck with $135 million bond? And
Excellent question. We're proposing in the financing of the school an initial bond purchase, bond issuance of $15 million, and the board will be taking action on that $15 million. That's to address potentially the purchase of the land. The bigger issue that may be $80 or $90 million probably won't happen until maybe the fall of 2025. The fall, so maybe September, October, November, December, because there's still a long time that we'll be designing this building and getting permits and land approval. We're not anticipating put a shovel in the ground until the fall. So we won't be paying bills We won't be paying the contractors to build the building until potentially the fall. So we're not going to borrow the money any earlier than we need to.
Thank you very much.
Anything else? In that case, may I have a motion to move the parameters resolution forward to our next meeting?
I make that motion?
I
Seconded.
We have a maker and a seconder. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion carries. Speaking of design, you have some things to fill us in on?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Madison, again. Here with me tonight are two individuals, part of our architectural team, Mr. Steve Barron and Michael Ackerman. If the board is so inclined, they have a small presentation. But if the board wants to see a presentation or not, I'm just not certain if the board has time. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so let me, without further ado, Steve and Michael will go over a few slides kind of depicting the design of the building. And I'll leave it up to them.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening. I'm Steve Barnes from Breslin Architects. Thank you to Madam President and Dr. Burks and the board members for this opportunity to be back. It's good to see you. So what we do want to, and we've prepared for this evening, is a presentation on the schematic design. So the progress on the design of both the building and the site with respect to the K-8 Academy. So we're excited by this opportunity, and this is the result of about 8 months of educational programming, as well as design work for the building and site. What you will see is a schematic design. This is the early stages, really the first formal presentation of the progress that's been made. And so we're excited to show it to you. So the facility is really designed to be a community-based campus facility for learning and gathering on the east side of Allentown. So for those who have been tracking this project over the years, you'll recall we've evaluated numerous sites for location of the building. Between the administration and the project design team, there's been unanimity that the opportunity to locate the school on the former state hospital site, now called Northridge, is the best we've reviewed. That's primarily due to its location, its size, and the characteristics of the site. It's a total of 16.7 acres, which is a comfortable size to accommodate the parking and site amenities that's relative to the location on the east side. It will allow adequate space for playgrounds, for a multi-sport play field. It has the virtues of the qualities that and characteristics of a clean environmental phase 1 report. And its location is close to neighborhood services in the area. When we begin the design of the site, we began by asking a question: how does the Allentown K-8 Academy at Northridge meet the district's goals? So that's the programming phase that we've been through. And I won't read the slide. You can see this for yourselves, but I'll touch on just 3 of the key justifications that we recognized. This addresses the decades-long goal of establishing an East Side middle school. It creates a campus feel with ample amenities and a sense of belonging from kindergarten all the way through matriculation to a theme-based high school experience. And it would create swing space to allow for what we all know are the much-needed renovation and replacement options for Harrison Morton. We also look at the justification for the size of the building. And you'll recall that there's a feasibility study underway that's going on. And hot off the press are some figures from Power School, the district's demographer. And we have 3 slides here showing the elementary, middle, and high school district-wide capacity. It's important to note that we're in the process of verifying the building capacities with the principals as part of the feasibility study. So these are existing numbers for that do not include any proposed additions at this time. And they will be further verified. But the blue line indicate on each of these three slides indicates the projected enrollment by grade level grouping. So in this case, it's the elementary schools. And that varies over time. This is a 10-year look here. And then the horizontal line, the steady line, is the total capacity of that grade grouping. So in this case, it's the elementary schools. And so the comparison is to look at these charts for the next 10 years, and that will help us to determine the capacity of future educational space that we look at developing for the district. So you can see here that there is, with the current building capacity, not including this project or others that would add capacity, but there's a deficit projected at the elementary school level. We look at the middle school level, a little bit further out in the out years, we see that blue line reaching the existing capacity and ever so slightly exceeding it at the middle school level. And then at the high school level, we have a little bit more time because that blue line dips below the existing capacity. And then in the out years out there in 2031, 32 timeframe, that's when we start to see pressure on the existing capacity for the high school. So the quick takeaway is at the elementary school, there's a projected need. And at the secondary level, the near-term projected need is greater at the middle school. So now we'll start looking at the Northridge site itself. So this is an aerial view looking from Hanover Avenue toward the site, the campus itself, and that red line is specifically our site, the 16.7 acres. So as you're orienting yourself, if you think of that, the right-hand drive onto the site, which is actually the out drive, that is roughly the location of the proposed Northridge Boulevard. And then everything to the left of that as you approach the site from Hanover Avenue, and then up to the ridge that is at the back of this site is the property that we're looking at. This is the sort of the reverse angle. The tree line in the foreground is the approximate location of Northridge, and then everything beyond that is the site. And once again, the prominent feature there is the ridge line that you see on the far right, and you'll see how that plays into the design of the site as we move forward. This is a ground level view looking across the site. Again, you see that tree line and that ridge prominent. So now we'll move into some slides looking at the schematic design of the building itself. So here I'll just introduce it by saying that, as I mentioned, this is the early stages of design. So what we're showing you is the general configuration of the building, the footprint of the building, its relationship with the site, and those major features. And it's an important milestone because we're involved with the land development process at this time, which is the permitting for doing all of the site work itself to construct the pad for the building and move forward with that. That is really the element of design that often drives the schedule. And so as your design team, we're mindful of keeping that on track and looking at the overall project schedule. So what we're not looking at or approving with the schematic design is equally important to understand. We're not designing the facade or approving the facade of the building, the details of the interior classrooms and the interior spaces and colors or materials, that sort of thing. That's the next phase. So what we would call design development is where we'd move into and would look forward to bringing you back multiple additional opportunities to present and get feedback from you on the detailed design. But this is allowing us to move forward with the basic layout, the footprint of the building, the size and capacity of the building. building, and then ultimately the budget that's established by the board for the project as well. So this is the overall site plan. Again, you'll remember that red outline that that I showed. This is that enlarged, and we're looking at just our property relative to the overall site. And you'll see that Hanover Avenue is on the lower side of the image. Immediately off of Hanover Avenue is beginning that campus facility construction is an athletic field. And that would be a synthetic turf athletic field. That would be a multi-purpose. We heard feedback early on in the design from the administration as well as the facilities committee that we needed to accommodate multiple sports at that field. So we've looked at that very carefully. As you move up the site plan, you'll see a bus loop that forms the separation between the play field and the building itself. There's a lot of thought given to safe circulation on site. So the bus traffic and the car drop-off traffic are separated. A lot of thought given to pedestrian connectivity up from Hanover. So the tree line is indicating a place where there's a walking path that goes up the hill. And then on the very top of the plan is the service access to the building. Of course, that's very important and required. And so we put that in an area that's away from the pedestrian and car and bus traffic. And then you can see then also that the tree line that's along the left-hand side, that's that ridge that I was referring to earlier. And that creates a sanctuary, we're calling it, behind the building. That is a lovely area of site that can be claimed by the school for outdoor amenities. If we enlarge just the building portion of the site, you can see that we have arranged the building in what we call learning communities and a shared use facility. So the two wings that are horizontal are the K-6 the K-5 learning community for elementary, and then further up is the 6 to 8 learning community. Between them is that courtyard. So we're very excited about how that could have an opportunity for outdoor space that could involve a walking path, a multi-purpose area of green space to be open for various uses. You'll also see here some green indicated on the building itself. Those are vegetated roofs. One of the other things that we've been looking at very carefully, along with the city and the county in the development of this, is the sustainable qualities of the building. So that we're introducing what everybody refers to as green roofs. So they're vegetated roofs that would help divert some of the rainwater out of the stormwater management system, reduce the load of the building. And other sustainable features to the building will include a lot of natural daylighting into the spaces, very energy efficient mechanical systems, plumbing systems. And then the site itself has what we call spray irrigation. And that's, you collect the rainwater and then it's actually piped and sprayed out onto the site to reduce the flow of water off of the site. So all of that, again, is in the early stages of development and will proceed, understanding that one of the district's goals is sustainability. So here we just have some example photographs, and these are interspersed through of aspirational images, I'll call them, of what certain aspects of the building could look like, just to give you a little bit of a flavor for it. Not that this is the final design by any stretch, but this is an example of a courtyard at a middle school that we designed. So you can see it's a lovely open space that's vegetated, has seating opportunities outside, instructional opportunities outside with outdoor classrooms. And they become great gathering spaces for the school and even the community after hours. So now we want to zoom in at the lower end of the site along Hanover Avenue. One of the things that we've been looking at very carefully over the past few weeks is creating a gateway onto the campus from Hanover, because we understand that There's public transportation there. There's walkers coming from different areas. And we need to engage that pedestrian traffic at the earliest possible and bring them safely into the campus and ultimately into the building. That was a concern of the city as we reviewed it with them as well. And so we've created a gate down at Hanover Avenue. And then off to the right there, or I'm sorry, the left is the construction for the athletic field depicted as well. This would be as if you were approaching the site from, this is a rendering, again, an early conceptual image of what that gate could look like as you were to approach the campus from the Hanover Avenue direction. So it's an opportunity to create a little bit of a plaza and a gateway onto the site. As you see the trees on the right-hand side, and you'll see the shade and the pedestrian pathway there. That is Northridge Boulevard running up the hill. And again, a great place for pedestrians, for bicycling, for running, and that sort of thing. As we move a little bit further up the hill, this is an early conceptual rendering of the building itself. So again, material choices, colors, all those things are yet to come. But the concept here to really focus on is the fact that this is a very welcoming entrance. This is the main entrance to the building. You're seeing thoughts about a very large canopy there to provide weather protection and a welcoming sort of opening of the arms of the building. And then there's a tower that would be the stair tower, main stair tower. That's a civic element to really give this building a presence in the community that's visible from a distance. And then so to the left-hand side, you see what would be the bus loop running along the front for lots of space for drop off. And then to the right is the parent drop off. So again, separated. And then we think also about how after hours is the community going to access the building. So up the facade on the right-hand side are a few entry points where to access the multi-purpose room or the cafeteria after hours. You'll see the secondary entrances to the building. And we're trying to break down that facade already, which would be because it is a large building, and breaking that down in scale to promote a sense of belonging and really give people the impression that this is their school and their campus. And so you see here again the inclusion of the pedestrian pathway that will be so prominent going up the Northridge Boulevard. Again, early images. These are what we're expressing here are durable materials that would last the life of the building and create low maintenance and not burden future budgets of the district with maintenance costs. So all that to be discussed and explored later with you, but we're showing those sort of civic and durable materials here as a starting point for the conversation. But there's a lot of glass also you see there that would look into the multi-purpose room and into the corridor system and bring borrowed light all throughout the building. So now I'll spend a little time going through the plan itself so you can understand how it's developing. So you'll see here again the academic wings on the left-hand side, those learning communities. Punctuated in each of those is a collaborative area on each floor. We'll show you an image of that in a moment. And then within those wings is the outdoor space, the library, and some innovation labs that are shown along the right-hand side of that courtyard could open up to that space for great outdoor learning activities. And then you'll see a corridor that runs up vertically through the building. That is what we're calling the Main Street Commons. So that'll be a very exciting, dynamic space, a large space with a high ceiling that moves through the building. And then to the right of that are the core facility areas. So the gymnasium, the multi-purpose room, the administration, the secure entry area to the building. And then up at the top of the plan is the cafeteria, the dining room, and the kitchen. And all sprinkled through there are the related arts rooms that will bring really an active quality to the building. This is an example of that Main Street concept that we're talking about. This is another school that opened recently, our design, and it gives you an idea of what that dynamic two-story space could look like. Again, materials and colors are selected down the road, but it's a durable set of finishes with terrazzo floors, but a lot of windows and allowing natural light. Those are skylights up at the top. So just giving you an idea of what that Main Street space could look like. Here's, there'll be moments within that space where, because of the grade on the site, we need to step up. And so each of those, like this, could be an opportunity for a gathering spot, for a learning stair, and sort of punctuate that common area with a lot of life. This is an example of a library. And of course, the library is a space where we'll spend a lot of time in design. You know, what's the relative use of stacks and books versus media of other types, and STEM and lab innovation labs. And on the left-hand side in this image, as an example, you see some gathering spaces. And then it looks out through glass into a courtyard area, similar to what we might see moving forward with our design here. This is, again, the second floor plan. So on the right-hand side, you'll see the upper areas of those two-story large spaces in the common area. And then the floor plates of the academic learning communities would then duplicate up with more classrooms, another common area, and a collaboration area. Here's an example of what that would look like. You might recognize this from Hayes Elementary. So it punctuates the corridor with the collaboration area, breaks down the length of the corridor, and gives a lot of opportunities for individualized learning, for one-on-one pull-out instruction. All of the needs that we're seeing just grow as we care for the individual learning experiences of the students. And this is then the third floor. So each of those classroom wings, those learning communities, is 3 stories to provide adequate number of classrooms to support the population of students. But again, science labs are also important. So those are being located off of those common areas, and the related arts would be in this area as well. So again, building, but we look forward to really exploring that further as design moves. So with that, we'd love to open it up for discussion or questions as needed. Thank you.
Did you want to go first? Okay, go.
Okay. So you answered my first question about the flexibility with the design of the building. How much flexibility do we have when it comes to the bricks, that particular brick? Because I have to be honest, I travel around to other schools frequently. And I noticed that due to weather conditions, there are these black streaks that look like molding that end up on these color bricks. We hate them. We don't like this color brick. So what options do we have in this case?
Lots of options. So yes, I fully understand. This is sort of the first time you're seeing a picture, three-dimensional picture of the building. So yeah, the color of the brick, the amount of brick relative to other durable materials like limestone or terracotta, even metal panel, the proportion of wall versus window, and that is all part of the design moving forward. So there's by no means any preconceived notion as to the color of the brick or anything like that at this point of the design. What if you think of other buildings in the district, with the design of Hayes, we went through multiple looks at the facade of the building, what color of the brick, how much window, how much metal panel. Those are all options we would explore with you moving forward.
So let's talk about windows. We don't like those windows either. Ms. Conover brought up something that was very important. She said that it looks kind of jail-like, those small little
Ouch.
windows. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so,
Lehigh County Jail.
and it's not to be rude or anything. We just want more sunlight. We want more sunlight. We're thinking more glass. Even with the design, we're looking for more, I'm trying to find the right word, but I don't have it, like, but more
Modern look.
more modern, more
Sure.
more innovative. And yeah, I'm seeing a lot more brick than I would want to see. We want more sunlight coming in
Okay.
on the kids. So when it comes to design, especially on the outside, I think we would have a lot of work that we would want to do to that.
Sure. And I would expect that, frankly. Again, this is the first time you're seeing pictures of the building. With respect to the building, to the windows, I should say. So we engage what we refer to as biophilic design, which that refers to natural light being introduced into the building, the materials that are used in the building, the colors that are being used in the building. All of that is being shown to enhance education outcomes. It's probably deceiving because of how far we are away from the building in this image. Those windows that you see to the left of the stair tower, those are floor to ceiling, 8 foot tall, 4 foot wide windows.
The ones on that side over there.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
So it's deceiving here just because of how zoomed out we are. But those are large windows. And so we are firm believers in bringing a lot of natural light into the classroom. So again, if you were to, and I keep referring to Hayes because it's here and it's recent, but those large windows into the classrooms, I mean, these are that big or larger. And so that's very much a part of the design moving forward.
okay. Then my next question, I think it was shown on SPA, the aerial site. So when you look at I'm trying to get to it. So
Going back to
it
the
was
can-
showing more of the street. So I wanted to look at where the, go back,
sorry.
with the gentleman crossing the street with the, there we go.
Yes, okay.
Is that Hanover with the crosswalk?
No, that is Hanover. We're actually standing on the island and if I go back one more and show you here, we are standing approximately here in that image. So you're looking across this little portion of the road here,
Okay.
right? In that view at the gate. So we're standing on that island with Hanover Avenue behind us. So we've crossed Hanover and we're about to cross the next step. And that island is very important from a pedestrian standpoint because we know Hanover is a large street. So we need to kind of create stepping stones, if you will, as you cross that street. So does that answer your question?
It does, but the original look that we were looking for was more of like a campus feel, like a drive up to the campus. So it's not, this just seemed a little too close to me. Like we're crossing the street and then pretty much
Well-
the school's right there.
Well, yeah, this is actually the gate to the athletic field. So we're looking at this gate here. And the school is uphill.
So if we go to the school, let's go to the school.
Yeah. So we were looking down here
Mm-hmm.
and that gate is here. And then from there, you would have the opportunity to enter the campus, if you will, which would first, you would pass the athletic facilities and then walk through and up into the building. Or along Hanover, there's a wide proposed, and this is part of the master plan development, not our design. There's a pathway that goes up all the way up the hill that's wide and designed for pedestrians and so forth. So if I can speak to the vehicular piece that you mentioned a
Yeah.
moment ago, the drop off is we don't want that drop off occurring at Hanover, right? So pedestrians are crossing there and entering the campus, but cars are coming up Northridge and looping through to drop off here, and buses are entering Northridge. There's a turning lane where they would then turn left in and drop off as well. So we're very intentionally separating that pedestrian traffic from the vehicular traffic from a safety standpoint.
Okay. So how much feet from the actual Hanover to the campus? How much space is?
To the school itself?
Yeah. Do you know?
Yes, that's it. It's about a block. So you have a sense, Michael, of the measurement there? Probably about, it's the length of the field, right? Which is, so it'd be about 500 feet from Hanover to, we'll say to this corner of the school site. So think of it as a block.
Okay. And then that, the gate
Yes.
that's there. Let's look at that gate.
Okay.
How did you come up with that design for the gate?
That really is meant to mimic the vocabulary of the school itself with a signage opportunity, a horizontal, again, shelter plane that mimics the large generous overhang. And then actually the physical gates themselves would be underneath that. So it's a portico.
I'm not really a fan of that metal at the top of the gate,
Okay.
but
You mean the cover?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's just a little weather protection. It could be a different material or take a slightly different form. Again, we're just as a starting point now for the conversation, we're just implying that, there's some signage there, there's some weather protection, there's a portico that speaks to your entering the front door of the campus here, as you look.
And the reason why I don't like it, okay, it has like the strips, right?
Mhm.
So when it rains, it leaves a distinct mark. When it stains, it streaks down as a mark.
Okay.
So yeah, if we can find something else, because I'm really trying to avoid that. I hate
Yeah.
that
Okay.
look.
And by that you mean like the metal panels that
Yes,
streak, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
eventually, like it stains the wall according to how like the water just
Mm.
falls between that. So yeah, it doesn't look good.
Thank
And
you for
then-
that feedback.
Yeah, and then the tower. Like I like the concept of the tower.
Here or on?
No, no,
buil-
the tower that you spoke about,
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. Yeah, the big tower there.
Mhm.
I like the concept of the tower. However, I think you can make it pop a little bit more with glass.
Absolutely.
Just my little feedback.
Okay.
It could pop a little bit more with glass. Just, we've seen these big brick towers everywhere. Like, let's just think a little bit outside of the box. Like, how can we make that tower really
Mhm.
stand out? All right, I think that's it for my questions.
Okay, thank you very
Mm-hmm.
much.
Other comments?
You have another question? You said going into those details later on in the process. As we get into that, what does that do to our budget as far as making changes goes the further we go into the process?
Great question. So we're mindful of a couple of things as design progresses. So first of all, the board sets the budget for the project. And we're talking about a parameters resolution to support that. So we know going into the design, a very important piece of it is the budget, right? From a fiscal standpoint. So as we move forward, we're mindful of whatever we show you needs to fit within that budget. So, and that's the first cost, right? Which is very important on bid day for financing, that sort of thing. The other thing that we keep in mind is life cycle cost. So a perfect example that leads to maintenance is something that will streak or show dirt or something like that, or something needs to get painted or refinished on a regular basis. And so we're very mindful of the life cycle cost of things as well, because we don't want to burden future boards with big maintenance budgets. So we want to create projects that meet the budget and support future budgets in a fiscally responsible way. So we would not bring anything back to you to fall in love with that doesn't meet the budget. It is kind of a simple way to respond, if that's helpful.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, I want to go back to what you talked about with the rainwater. With us reusing that, does that take off our rainwater tax? How does that happen? How does that work?
I can't say that I'm familiar with are you talking about the stormwater management?
Right, right.
Okay,
Well, we call it
okay.
rainwater.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, but it's
Okay.
storm tax, yes.
Right. So I would not be the one to do that analysis, but it does reduce the volume of stormwater leaving the site. So yes, I believe it would have an impact on that because I believe that's a volume calculation. So for a variety of reasons, we're trying to reduce the volume of stormwater that needs to be collected, stored, and then released from the site. So I believe they go hand in hand, what you're talking about there.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Right.
Are you all done? Okay. You have any questions? Okay. So initially, the questions that I'm going to ask, we all obviously may know, but sometimes you ask a question so others can know. So, prior to selecting, Breslin, there was a bidding process, correct?
Yes.
Right, okay. During that time, I believe the district expressed the desire to have a more creative design for the school, something different than what we usually get. And although we respect all your efforts, what we envision is not exactly what we see. So as the president was trying to express that we appreciate all your efforts, but we were looking for something a little more creative. I think one of the, as was mentioned, we were not in supportive of gates. This is something that has also been expressed by community members in a community forum to another school on the east side. And this is on the east side with the same community members. Having a gate and fenced in is also something that they've expressed no interest in. And it also gives, yes, that prison look. So that was a concern. We desired to have the bricking, the building is fully bricked and we were looking for something a little more open with natural light coming in. Giving our students something when they look, although we want them to learn, but if they do look out the window, we want them to have something, you know, beautiful to look at and not be more closed in. I don't recall, but did we have a number that we started off with or that we proposed? Does anybody know the answer to that question?
No, what number are you talking about?
Um,
Financially?
What financial?
Okay,
Did we have a number that we started out with that we were looking?
We initially thought it would cost about $100 million.
Okay.
That was very tentative cost,
With
not
the
a firm
des-
cost.
With the proposed design we had in mind, right?
Just in general for the project. Well, I guess it's a matter of words, but of course we wanted, something really exceptional for within $100 million.
Okay,
If that
so I
answers your
mean,
question.
it's really no need to drag it on. It's just, like you have this project, we are very invested in this project. We want our students to have the best. We just want to be a little more creative. Our students, this is a different time than what we all have experienced in life. And as it relates to like technology, schools are a little more upscale nowadays. So we just want to offer our students the best.
And that's our goal too. And I'm very confident in saying that as we move forward with the design and with your input and enact other options for you to review, this is going to be a spectacular school. I mean, when we think about the opportunity here on this site to create this campus with the exterior space, the interior space, the learning communities, the innovative educational spaces in the building. This will be a project that people are going to come from all over the state to look at and say, wow, what did Allentown do here? And we believe that our students deserve nothing but the best, and that this really has to be an expression of what we feel the value of education in Allentown is. And part of that communication is starts with the facade of the building. So we want to work with you and determine how you want to express that, what the values are. And if you're not seeing that yet, that's good. We look forward to those conversations occurring. And again, we're at the very early stages. And so we look forward to including those elements, those colors, those design features that you all are looking for to really express the design intent to the community. So we look forward to that.
So based off of what you just stated, my question to you is, it almost sounds like this is the first time that you're hearing what form of design we were expecting and looking for. Is that true?
I think if I'm understanding correctly, we're talking about aesthetic of the facade of the building, right? And so that's no, I mean, the answer is it's not the first time we're hearing it, but I think you're not seeing something that matches that aesthetic in terms of the creativity of the facade. And what I'm saying is that this is the beginning of that process. We have spent much more of the time so far in the land development design of the building, getting the program right, what spaces are in the building, how, how the building fits in with the site. What you're seeing here is, with respect to the facade, is just the starting point. So a lot of other things go into what you're expressing in terms of innovative and creative solutions, and then the facade of the building. And so that's a process that's just beginning. What I'm hoping is that when you see the floor plan and the arrangement of the learning communities, the inclusion of the building program, of the kind of innovative labs that we're looking to include in the building, the new concept of the K-8 arrangement of the building, those shared spaces, and how that works with the educational program, that's where we've been spending the bulk of the time at this point.
I understand that. So I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for everybody else. When I see this, I don't want to say, oh, I don't want to sit here and agree. And then in the end, the building looks like this. So I just want to make that part clear.
No, I can guarantee you it won't look like
Okay.
this, because again, we're just at the beginning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one last.
Go ahead.
No, go. When you go before the planning commission, how much do you need to give them, and how much does that lock us into a concept?
Yeah,
Good
great
question, right?
question. Yes. So the planning commission is a recommending body. They look at a variety of things, mostly with respect to, is the building design meeting the ordinances? So we do show them these types of images just because a picture speaks 1,000 words in terms of what kind of building is this, how is it going to look? But no, it does not, but in any way, shape, or form, lock us into the color of the brick, the facade of the building. Their purview is to provide feedback, but not design approval of the facade of the building. That's not.
So I
Their
have a
purview.
follow-up question to that, because I do have a concern that we have a concept in mind, but the planning commission has another concept in mind. And I want, when we go before them, that we're very clear with the concept that we want to bring in front of them, because they already had something in mind of what they wanted the space to look like. And I think they're coming in with these preconceived notions of, this is what we want, and if we can't get this, the school needs to mimic that in a particular way. We don't want to be locked into that, because we want our children to get the best. And not to say that that is coming from our minds, but the community is giving input, the children are giving input. So we want to make sure that what they want, they can get. And it's not necessarily guided by the planning commission, but guided by what the community wants, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And that's an accurate statement. And that's how it should be. They will provide comment, but I think everybody understands that it's the school district's building and the school district designs it.
Thank you.
So that was a perfect segue for me. So what we do know is that I was on that ad hoc committee when we were choosing architects. And one of the things that I did, as well as many people that was on that committee, is we were very clear in terms of what we wanted our building to look like. And we looked at yourself as well as other architects presented their works. And obviously we chose. I know that I'm vocal. I don't know if anybody knows, but I'm vocal. And I clearly was very clear in terms of the bricks. I didn't want to see that. Now, I was looking at this, you can turn the page, SP 2A, 2B. This is one of the things that I pointed out. And then I'm going to tell you what my concerns are. SP 2A, if you look at the trees here, and you look at that the space that you have between the actual building and the trees. And then when you turn it to the next page and you go to 2B,
Okay.
you took it out?
Yep, I was.
Okay,
asking.
well, there's a picture there. Let's talk about it. We're not gonna show it. Thank you for taking it out because it didn't make my heart glad at all. That does not depict what it is that we're looking for. And I'm clear, you heard that a lot tonight, right?
Mhm.
The other part is natural lighting is very important for our kids, because it's not about us, it's about our kids. I pulled something up. It says, design aesthetics and especially lighting play a significant role in student achievement in K-8 school buildings. Numerous studies, and this is what I shared with you, and I just pulled it up since I've been down here. But I lived this stuff, so I knew it before. I talked to Tom Smith a lot about light. Numerous studies have shown that natural light in particular positively impacts students' performance, behavior, and overall well-being. And then it gives me a breakdown of how lighting can affect students' achievement. Natural light classrooms with ample natural light have been linked to higher student test scores and better reading and math performance. Exposure to natural light can improve students' concentration, their mood, and engagement in learning tasks. 2, it reduces fatigue and eye strain. Good lighting reduces visual discomfort, eye strain, and fatigue, which can enhance students' focus and reduce distractions. Limited or poor lighting can contribute to tiredness, impacting students' ability to concentrate on their lessons. We talk about number 3, behavior and mood. Exposure to appropriate lighting conditions can positively affect mood and reduce stress. Students in well-lit environments are generally more alert, happier, and better able to handle the demands of schoolwork. And then we go on to cognitive performance. Certain lighting conditions, such as cooler blue tone lights, can help with alertness and cognitive performance, while warmer lighting may be more conducive to relaxation and can be used for activities that require less focus. Now, I wrote that. I didn't write that. That was not my writings, but I read that. Because when we see things like gates and barriers and things like that, that's a problem for me to approve. Since I've been on this board, I've been saying natural light, natural light. We want that campus look. We want our kids to experience something that they've never experienced before. If we begin to do these things, then we can cut down on that the money that we need for mental health and all those different things. And what I don't want to do is I don't want to get to the place where you say, well, no, your money wasn't long enough. Because when we sat down at the table, I was sending pictures. Maybe this. Can we do something like that? So I don't want us to say, okay, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna get this done by 20, whatever. We create these timelines and we get all these approvals and we get this money from M&T. And then somebody comes to us and says, you know what? That lot wasn't big enough, or the way it was, we had to build this way, or we couldn't do this. And then as a result, now this district and this board has agreed to something that we don't want. I can't consciously do that knowingly. And in the pictures again, and I get it. You said on the other side of the building, there was some beautiful windows, not interested, but I believe you. Next time, show us what we're buying. I'm just being me. Personally, I want to see what I'm buying. And this is for our students. That's $1 million. Do you know that our taxpayers are entrusting us with $1 million? And then we just talked about 135. What is it, 1 million?
1 million.
I'm sorry, 100 million. And we talked about 135 million bond. And so we have to be responsible. I do know how to count, guys, by the way. But at any rate, we have to make sure that we can justify what it is that we're buying. And we can't get to the end of the road and say, oh, well, this is all we could. So if you're telling us right now we can't afford it, or if the planning commission is saying to us that we can't do it there, then we have to stop this bus and do it somewhere else. And that's not what we want to do, because our students need a school. But we have to be good stewards of that money, and we have to make sure that whatever it is that they need, that we get it. So then inside the design, we can talk about that. We know about room arrangements, setting up that, we know we can work around that. That's not the problem. I don't want to take my students into a prison-like environment. I don't like gates. And if, I'm only one of 9, but I think we can agree. I don't like the bricks. I don't care about the stuff rolling down, because if it was glass, we don't have to worry about that stuff. We know we can switch materials up and we can get different things. But I want us to take a closer look. And this is our meeting, so we're having a meeting, so I don't want anybody to write anything negative, because the goal is to get a building for our students. We're not fighting here, okay? But we have to get on the same page, because it's not for us, it's for our students. And that's all I pretty much have to say tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate the
you.
presentation.
I appreciate the feedback.
Right, Ms. Burks, Dr. Burks.
So, thank you, and thank you, Mr. Steve, for the presentation from the Breslin team. And so, what I think I heard is that you will be able to go back with your team, and given the feedback that you heard tonight, to rethink and look at the design specifications so that you come back to the board and show some other images. Is that correct? I want to make sure there's clarity, because there were comments, and I thank the board for their comments. So, okay. And thank you. Like I said, this is the beginning stages.
Exciting
A
time.
shovel won't even hit the ground if we're looking until this time, probably next year. So we have lots of opportunity to create the facility that we think that will best meet the needs of our students, that they feel proud about and excited about, and their families. And so I want to thank the board again for your input. Thank you.
No, it's not an action item.
Just a presentation.
Original.
Do,
Go ahead. Did you have something you were going to add, Mr. Smith?
Yes, good evening, Board. So at the conclusion of that presentation, tonight, we are formally requesting from the
Oh,
school.
no, excuse me, we're not going to take action this evening.
on the
On this item.
presentation
Yes, on the presentation.
of the school. That's what she's mentioning.
Yes.
Yes.
The parameters.
Parameters,
yeah.
yes, but I mean, the actual school
Yes, we
design
did
is
that.
not moving forward tonight.
So this is for schematic design approval.
Correct, correct. We're not going to go any further on that tonight, just the information. I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you.
At this time, we're taking public comments on non-agenda items. Do we have any cards? All right. Is there any old business to come before the finance meeting?
What is going on with the East Side Stadium? Is there any updates?
I can't answer
Can you
that.
be more specific, Ms. Phoebe?
If we're going, when we
Andre
going to
Reed?
build it? How are we going to, what's going on with it as far as, getting it with the city and everything else?
Oh, you mean the Andre Reed?
Yeah, Andre
Okay,
Reed.
okay.
Mhm.
Oh, thank you. I was okay.
Confusing
So-
up here.
Well, it's the East Side Stadium. It's East Side.
Is it, okay.
Mhm.
We've been in communication with the city. There's a small committee of individuals that we've been talking with, or we've been meeting, I shouldn't call it a committee, but we've been meeting, talking about possible opportunities as to how the facility will be funded. So it's very much in the discussion phase. It's about trying to figure out how we get things funded
Okay, thank you.
moving forward. But we're very serious and committed to the project. And so, as you are aware, we don't own the land or the park, that the city owns the park. And so we have enlisted support of our solicitor's office to present to the city a possible proposal as to how we can move forward. And so at this point, we're waiting to hear for our counsel, not Attorney Sultanic, but someone from his office, to talk with the city's solicitor as well again, because right now we're trying to work through some of the logistics of the city owning the land, and we don't own the land, and who's going to, in terms of the investment. So very much still in discussions. The city has said they have a commitment to helping us create this particular renovating the park, but we have to work out lots of the logistics. So I don't have any hard firm updates right now, other than we're still in discussions.
Well, that was an update, so thank you very much. And then Mr. Smith, the Allen baseball field. Mr. Tom Smith, the Allen baseball field, I know that it's halfway done. What is the Allen baseball field? Okay, are we finished that project? Or are we halfway done? Where are we in that project?
The warning track project, to the best of my knowledge, is completed.
Oh, so it is completed. So let's go back to that. One of the things that is being done is the freshman Allen football team uses that also as their practice field. It's messing up the baseball field. Why? Why are we using that? And you know that, because that cost us, the RBA, they all pitched into that and gave us Scott gave us almost $200,000 for that field altogether, all the money we put into it. So it's getting messed up by those cleats when they use it as a practice field. So what is the solution?
Again, we'd have to speak to the athletic director to see how they utilize those facilities.
Okay, so that's it. And that's athletics.
That's
Okay,
okay.
so we'll definitely wait for when we get a athletic director to talk about that process, because it's, it's not right.
Understood.
Thank you.
Is there any new business?
Yes. This is to you, Dr. Burks, the middle school football uniforms. When they do that, we just got finished their season. One of the things I did notice is that they did not have complete uniforms, nor did they have matching helmets. I know that we have given money for that. What happened? I don't know if this is something you can investigate, but that made no sense to me, that these children who are playing, it's still fun, but yet it doesn't look uniform. And that makes them look like a ragtag team, and that's not cool. That's not right. That's, our students deserve better.
I agree with you, Miss Phoebe, and I know on our team, they've talked with the coaches and such, and we can have an update from the board. I know Miss Smith is working with our athletic team to give me an accurate assessment of which teams have uniforms, new, old, and teams that need uniforms. And so I agree with you.
Okay. And then one more thing, the Midway Manor, the ball field, it is not very good. So is that Southern Memorial High School now?
Mr. Smith, do you know anything about the Midway ball field?
Yes, the Midway Manor baseball field. Or yeah,
Soccer field or baseball?
yeah, soccer field.
Soccer
Okay,
field.
yes, the soccer field. How are we're not doing a great job maintaining that either.
Well, we're doing our best. It gets used heavily. Now, this is the time of year, once leaf season is over, we'll go in and we'll fix all the divots. We'll plant grass seed, and by springtime, it'll be ready for play again.
Okay, that's it for me then. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn the committee meeting?
I make that motion.
Okay, we have several makers. Do we have an official seconder?
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'd like to call to order of the policy committee of a whole meeting of the board of directors of the school district for the city of Allentown for November 7th, 2024. The board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda and non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items. Comment cards are received by the start of the meeting, which is now. We will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the comment policy is located at the table next to the comment cards. Per our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance to the procedures and limitation of this policy, either on issues presented and resolution being considered or on the matters affecting the administration, management, or operation of district. Remarks of personal nature directed against any individual will be ruled out of order. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card and hand it to the chief of schools, Ms. Ramos. Do we have anything? Okay. May I have superintendent?
Thank you, Ms. Harris. First, I want to continue to commend the board and my team for working to develop our policies. Last year, as you know, we exceeded our goal of 10%, we increased 26% of our policies, and we are disseminating the policies throughout the district, sharing with our school leaders as well as their staff, and we're sending it out throughout the district to ensure that we're following our policies. So today we are continuing with increasing our policies and with a goal this year of meeting at least 20 more additional percentage points to get to almost half of our policies for the year. And so tonight we will present to the school board of directors 5 policies in our 200 series. Thank you, Ms. Harris.
Thank you very much. We have 5 policies to present this evening. They will all be from the 200 series. If my colleagues do not object, I would like to request we vote on all the policies together after the administration completes their presentation, if that's okay. Okay,
It's fine.
all right. Ms. Smith will present the next 3 policies for the first reading. Oh, Dr. Workman will do the first. Go ahead.
I want to thank the board for this opportunity to give the first reading of 2 policy updates. These policies are necessary to ensure that the district is current with state law and Pennsylvania school board policy. The updating also enables the district to maintain organizational efficiency and effectiveness, which is priority 6 in the district's strategic plan. The policies also support the district's meeting its commitment to equity outlined within that same district strategic plan. The first policy I'd like to bring to you is Policy 216, Student Records. There are no changes within this policy. The policy was originally adopted in November 16, 2006, and the last time it was updated was August 26, 2018. The policy states the responsibility for the collection, retention, disclosure, and protection of student records. The policy also recognizes the legal requirements to maintain the confidentiality of student records and prohibits the unauthorized access, reproduction, and/or disclosure of student educational records and personally identifiable information from such records. The district practices at present meet those requirements in Policy 216. Questions about Policy 216?
Anyone? No, we do not.
Thank
Thank you. Ms. Smith?
Good evening, Board. Tonight I have 3 new policies to present to you. The first one is Policy 228, and this is called Student Government. So this is allowing our schools, when we already have this in place, we have student government in place, but it is now a policy, so it will be enacted with fidelity. Our new policy is to allow students to have meetings, elect officers and representatives to provide a learning environment and student voice to their schools and what they're doing in their schools. Any questions on Policy 228?
I think that policy is very important. I remember when the Black Student Union and for Allen and the Diversity Union, is that what was it called? DEAR.
It was the Black Scholar Society.
Okay, when those were formed, and we did not have this, so we had to pretty much make it up. So now we have a format of how these things are done and how it's and a policy of how procedures are to be done as well. So I thank you very much for this.
And if I could jump to policies 232, because I feel they go hand in hand, that is about student involvement in decision-making. So not only does this policy would allow our student government to provide feedback into decision-making, but it allows all students in a school to make sure that they're providing feedback to the school on how schools run. And that includes making sure that the whole student body is represented when decisions are making. We already do this in our schools from a very young age. So when schools are developing their budgets, the principals are speaking to their students, even at the pre-K and kindergarten level, to provide feedback on what they want to see in their schools. So again, this is putting it into policy, so it is something that will always occur.
So
Any
that means-
questions?
That means their voice will be heard.
Their voice will be heard, yes. And the final new policy that we will be doing revolves around our talented students and their offerings that they can have for the public. So in policy 230, it's about public performance of our students. So we want our talented students to be able to be out in the community presenting, but we want to ensure that it is in a safe environment for them to present and it is connected to their learning. So this policy puts this in action that our students can go out and perform. However, the superintendent will be approving those performances and notifying the board of those performances. Any questions?
Question, performances, in general, performances,
Performances, their talents. So think of our bands, think of our step teams that you're seeing, think of our harmony groups that we have, all of our students that can go out and perform for our.
so
our
it's not
community.
participation, it's performances.
It's
strictly for
performances,
performance. Okay,
correct.
Thank you.
Do any of our student reps have any questions? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Smith.
Thank you.
Dr. Brown.
Thank you again. The second policy I'm going to be speaking to is policy 245.
5-4.
This is a brand new policy also. It's new to the entire state of Pennsylvania.
You said 245?
Two,
Sorry to
four,
interrupt you.
five, isn't it?
5-4 on my paper.
5-4, excuse me. I
Okay.
apologize. My
I do that.
dyslexia kicked in. Educational opportunities for military children. The policy is new to all districts throughout the state. The policy recognizes the challenges that are encountered by children of military families due to the frequent moves and the deployment of their parents and or guardians. This policy is committed to eliminating barriers to student attendance, education, graduation, and to providing additional support for the children of military families in compliance with federal and state law, regulation, and school board policy. This policy defines the following terms: active duty, children of military families, state council, uniformed services, and the U.S. Armed Forces. The policy also discusses the board's compliance with the provisions of the Interstate Compact of Educational Opportunity for Military Children. An example of a potential barrier could be production of enrollment materials. Since that family is moving around, they might not have a residency yet. One of the stipulations about this policy is that if they bring in military orders, the need for residency, a lease, a mortgage, any of those things is deferred for 45 days because of that propensity or that frequency of movement. Are there any other questions?
Just a comment. I'm happy we're doing this because this policy is in alignment with our strategic plan, equity.
And this policy is actually a follow-up to a policy I brought up, I think it was back in October, and it was for educational instability. This is one of those subgroups that falls under that category because of the stressors on the family unit. So I feel it's really good. Plus, it also addresses the DoD requirements of that compact.
Yes, thank you.
Department of Defense. Thank you very much. All right. May I have a motion to move these policies forward to November 21st, board meeting?
Are we doing 232?
They did that first.
Yeah, we did. Say what? Say that again?
We did that.
Oh, she did both at the same time, Missy.
She did them.
She did all three.
232 went before 230.
I didn't hear 232. I apologize about that. I just think underneath the purpose
Mhm.
and under authority, we should change the language from competencies. I think that's a little derogatory. I think the language should,
Can you come back up?
yes, I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't hear you say 232.
Is that where I jumped from student government to student voice? And then I went back to,
I don't know what's, okay, so under purpose on 232, the line where it starts activity at levels appropriate to their ages and competencies, I think that word should be different.
okay,
We want all our students to be competent. It sounds a little negative. and also under authority, maturity and competency. That's just my opinion.
Did you have something that you wanted to replace it with, or you just want them to look at something and come back with it?
Something different, something, I don't know.
More
a little
positive.
Positive, inspiring, something that doesn't make someone feel like they're not incompetent.
If we would remove that word and just keep it at age appropriate level, is that, or are you looking for an additional word?
Well, I think age is a part of it because if we're looking to get input from all students, right, about their schools, I think someone said earlier, like even with the younger students, they ask them questions, things like that. So everyone should have input. So I just think the language should sound something more positive.
Okay.
All right, thank anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Brown, Mrs. Brown. And that's the first reading, so we'll continue on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
May I have a motion to move these policies forward to the November 21st board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, this moves forward. Is there any comments from non-agenda items? Okay, any old business? Any new business? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, we're moving on to education. Thank you. Ms. Conover?
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Education Committee of the Whole meeting of the Board of Directors for the school district in the city of Allentown for today, November 7th, 2024. I will say to you, the board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda and or non-agenda items. First opportunity for comment is at the beginning of the meeting and is limited to agenda items only. Comment cards must be received by the start of the meeting, which is now. I will not be receiving public cards once the meeting begins. A copy of the public comment policy is located on the table next to the comment cards. For our board's policy, any person may address the board in accordance with the procedures and limitations of this policy. Item issues presented in resolutions being considered or other matters affecting administration, management, or operation of the district. Remarks of a personal nature directed against any individual. If you choose to address the board, please fill out the comment card and hand it to Deputy Superintendent Ramos. Comment cards are located again at the podium near the doors. Once recognized, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and finally limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Mr. Brooks, do you have any comments at this time? Thank you. What is a partnership between center and connections to facilitate some family presentations and traditions. So some superintendents from parent family advisory council. So looking at opportunity to engage with as well as questions that are insightful and helpful and decision making to the centers. Traditionally, to help support space development district. Partnership with leaders. Just an effort to begin to go leadership pipeline. Assistance exposed to these experiences. So we can begin to. Thank you. Thank you. This time, I'm going to ask Mr. Jim Longley, Chief Outreach Officer.
Right. Hi, how are you? Good evening, Dr. Burks, thanks for the directors. This evening, the district is seeking approval from the school board to enter into agreement of service with the nonprofit organization Center for Human Services in connection with the amount of $50,000 to provide the following services: 8 mental health workshop series for parents and caregivers, and 4 in Spanish and 4 in English. These workshop series will focus on mental and behavioral health topics such as depression, anxiety, eating, addiction, and trauma. In addition to the workshop series, families will have the ability to access individualized one-to-one parent coaching with therapists either weekly, bi-weekly, based on their service plan. They will also have access to 24/7 messaging from support. Our Greenville Call Center will also include technical assistance, marketing support, as well as quarterly data meetings. Additionally, the district families will have access to free services through the parent guidance.org website, offers over 70 on-demand topics for families that have been designed and created by licensed therapists. This service will be on just English and Spanish for our families. They will have access to the service in Arabic, Portuguese, Vietnamese, as well as Mandarin during the online sessions. Families will also have access to an online feature called Access Therapists, where they'll have the ability to ask questions anonymously to therapists and receive answers to those questions. Dr. Bertolini indicated our work in reference to engaging families. She thought it was very important and crucial that we support feedback from families before we move forward with this contract. And so, as she indicated, we had the opportunity to engage with 40 families. Where they had the opportunity from across the district to not only workshops, meet with the vendor and ask them research questions, but they had the opportunity to move to the topic that they wanted to have offered for these sessions. Are there any questions I can answer? I'll just make a comment. When I mentioned at the last meeting that I was able to attend the parent advisory committee, this is one of the things that happened there. There was this presentation and the families were very open to it. I love the fact that they would have resources to gain knowledge as a parent to address the needs of whether it's abuse, suicide. They were so happy that the district would, offer them specific service. So she is, and she does. Like the families were very engaged and happy that we're going to give them the success. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to thank you for that because you also said, for your community, our Asian community, some of the Mediterranean community. So, thank you for that because I was kind of concerned because you do, number 3 or number 5 when it comes to the Syrian community, how many people we have in the nation. So, thank you very much for including them as well. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm thinking of, say, you or a family member is having a crisis. How would the Cook Center respond to this crisis? This particular service is specific for the family. So each family member, parent, or guardian has the ability to find a therapist where they the Cook Center will match them and pair them with a therapist. They will have the population of the support. If in fact contains a crisis that happens, they have access to 24/7 messaging. The timeline at this time, the contract requires that they get expectation turnaround time between 4 to 48 hours. But yes, and it's sort of outside of their one-to-one coaching, if there should be something that should arise, they will be able to access their therapist outside of hours. Thank you. Yes, definitely. Thank you.
I know that this is a site, there's various classes and that parents are going to get a certificate. Can you kind of explain it? I think it's very important with the language parts and the clarity around presentations. I mentioned, which is just that's kind of live sessions as opposed to the other.
So the contract that we referred to the 4 virtual sessions that we are looking to prepare will be customized sessions specific to the school district in town. So, Dr. Brooks, for example, is a team members of our mental health service teams, and stuff like that. But having opportunity to be pregnant, with our families ahead of time to share different resources, with families, answer questions. So there is a moderator or facilitator from the organization that will be facilitating the session, with the family, videos and interactive, and that is available in both English and Spanish. The difference between sessions that we are looking at the contract for the for Spanish and for English, what it means is we have an opportunity for access to on-demand services on the website. So the difference is that one is live, right, in the moment, and that we will have it posted on our website that people can access the duration of our contract for up to a year. So if they weren't able to attend the ASC specific session, they can access it through our website. We will have a medallion logo on our website that will allow for people to access the on-demand feature. So that's where they want to have access to the 70 different workshops. On the one that will all been alive. That's where they'll be able to choose their language from the drop down on the website to Arabic, to language, and they can see the videos, and to be able to, see a topic that they need in that time. So if we, for example, chose to have a live session for depression in the month of December, but as you indicated, they need some support because they are seeing that their child is limiting and they need to deal with civilization. They can go and look at that topic and to be able to access the workshops and it's an early means with our men to do it. If they need additional support and service, they can really reach into the opportunity to have a connection with therapists to go through talks to them specifically for support and strategy. So that is, chapter 24/7 texting feature that the families will have access to. Question, regarding that the district staff will be present during the sessions. So I know you did touch on it a bit, but, thinking about the privacy of what's going on with the families. So how do they know, specifically the privacy rights? So two different things. We're going to reference the district staff and arrange a large workshop session. And so when we talk about therapist sessions, there's an individual confidential session that are only between the parent and the therapist. If that information is not shared with the district, we however will receive access to information such as zip code, grades of the student, what school, the parents participated, who are coming with instance participating in the sessions, we will not have access to this discuss. During that time, we will be actual information on the parent's name. Only during the live sessions that we are having a workshop, as if we were in person, virtually we'll have access to our staff member that when the fall. So while we have a national speaker, and speaking about a particular topic, we need to know about the services that we provide for our Allentown district students. There will be someone in that hall to be able to answer those in those large setting. Many of our students back up going to say about this. Thank you. This is the next item. We have a motion to move this forward to our resolution. Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please let it be known by saying aye. Any that oppose? Hearing and seeing none, this moves on to our next regular board meeting. So. November 21st? Is it? Wow. Thank you, Ms. Smith. It's so nice to see you again.
Good evening, once again. This year we have seen an increase of our English learners at some of our elementary schools. For example, Hayes has increased by 34 students. Roosevelt 17 students. Some other schools have seen shifts in numbers. So this memo is our core program that we use for our English learners, but it includes some schools that need a little additional materials. So I'm requesting approval for benchmark assessment materials for the new enrollment at a cost of $42,295.
How many questions? Questions?
I have a motion to move this item forward to our next regular board meeting on November 21st. Second. All in favor, please let me know by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So it's forward to our next regular board meeting. And now we have Mr. Singh. Right.
Good, thank you. Brooks and board members. We're requesting tonight to move over the contracts of social services with leaders to create and implement a leadership pipeline program. The Allentown School District will utilize this partnership to create and implement an effective district-wide leadership preparation and leadership growth program. This collaboration design a framework and curriculum to support the development of future assistant principals and future principals within our district. The scope of work will include cohorts of teachers, leadership positions, and current assistant principals. We do also thank Mr. Alan Ellison, the Executive Director of Pre-K to 12 Partnerships at New Leaders, who's here tonight as well.
Any questions? Seeing none, may I have a motion to move this item forward to our next regular board meeting?
That motion.
Further discussion, all in favor, please let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Are there any that oppose? Hearing and seeing none, this moves forward to our next regular board meeting. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. At this time, is there any comment cards? Is there any old business? Any new business?
I want to thank Dr. Boyd. What she's been doing with, one of the things, one of the secret things was 2019 March, our anniversary is completely. Going to the fire department and asking about their EMT program and starting it with us. Probably, so typical years. And we finally got something where our students be able to go to the fire department and be in the EMT program. And 18 years old, or 19 years old, they got a job, right? And they finish that program. Dr. Boyd, I thank you very much. This is going on person to person to person. And you got here, you took that up. Thank you. Because this is a game, again, another game changer, another successful story for our students. So they just don't become, they become successful. Become a whole person. This is a skill that is passion proof. Everybody needs it. Thank you very much for taking up that mantle and continuing on. And I can't wait for you to ask you because I know there's still curriculum going on. There's still curriculum, but I can't wait for you to present it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Are there any grass schedule items? Can I have a motion to adjourn, please? Second. All in favor, please let me know by not, or any that opposed? None. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.